Welcome to Tuesday with Terry, the podcast for getting your mind, business, and life in shape. Hosted by Terry Blachek, one of the original area developers for Orange Theory Fitness who helped launch the brand from the very beginning. He'll use his years of experience to help you shape up your mind, build strong relationships with your teams, revamp your business processes, and set down the path towards success in all aspects of your life.
Happy Tuesday. I'm glad you're here with us today. My name's Terry Blachek, and I'm talking to you live from Austin, Texas, where it's a boom town. The music is great. The barbecue's fantastic. The sun is hot, and the workouts are a little bit tough over here. So come on over and get a workout with me anytime you're in town. Give us a shout. We'd love to invite you into Orange Theory Fitness in town. We got 27 locations around to help you out. But today, what I wanted to chat about or talk about was expectations in building teams, and also maybe some expectations of yourself. There's really two types of expectations. There's expectations you have of yourself, and there's expectations that others have of you. Starting with the expectations of yourself, I just want to share with you a short story about expecting the best. A story was told about a group of students that were split up into three groups. First group of students, told them they had to build a maze for the mice or the rats to get down to the end of the maze. And matter of fact, they had done some studies on these rats, and they had done DNA studies, and they found out that these were highly intelligent rats, and that they were going to make it down to the end of the maze every single time, and they'd better go buy a lot of cheese because those rats were going to be successful at getting down and navigating to the end of the maze. The second group of students, they said, listen, you got a bunch of average rats, and they'll get down there sometime, so you better have something to reward them, but not every time. So let's see how that goes. The third group of students, they said, you got a bunch of inner city sewer rats that are just, they'll never make it down to the end of the maze. You don't even have to buy any cheese because they're just not going to make it. All you have to do is take a Post-it note and put the word cheese on it and put that at the end of the maze and see what happens. Study went on for 8 to 12 weeks, and they said that was pretty interesting. They decided to take it into the school systems in their local communities. And again, they took 3 teachers, and they said to the first teacher, you're going to have a bunch of brilliant, smart, high IQ kids. I mean, these kids come from doctors, they come from attorneys, they come from good business folks. I mean, they're going to be really great. You need to pile on the homework. I mean, expect these guys to really come through, and expect these guys are A-level students. They're really going to do fantastic in your class. The second group, they said, you've got a bunch of kids like Terry in there, they're average kids. I had a philosophy in college that C's get degrees. So as long as I passed, I just needed to get through to go out and get a job. But no, I didn't try to do anything extra. I didn't make sure I didn't fail the class, but I just kind of came in as average. And so the second group of students, they said, you got a bunch of average kids in your class. A third group of students, or I'm sorry, the third group of teachers, they said, listen, you got a problem. And in your class, what you have is you have a bunch of Bart Simpsons in your class because these kids are going to be cut-ups. They're going to be troublemakers. They're not going to show up to class. They're not going to do their homework. They don't come from great families. I mean, all we got to do is make sure they get through the program. 12 weeks went by, and sure enough, they found out that, and if you've heard this story before, you're 3 steps ahead of me, because you know that, in fact, there were no genius or brilliant rats or idiot rats. There were no high IQ kids and no Bart Simpson kids. What they found out in the school system is teacher expectation has a high correlation with student performance. Employer expectation has a high correlation with employee performance. And here's what I would say to you today. Your own personal expectations of yourself have a high correlation with your own personal performance. What do you expect? What do you expect of yourself? You see, the mind and the body go together. And if you can focus on the mind, part of your expectations are things that you put into your mind. I've talked about this a little bit before. Are you feeding your mind with the pure, the positive, and the good stuff? And you cannot rise above your words. If you cannot articulate it, the chances of you achieving that are relatively little to none. So when you look at your vocabulary, are you using words like I have to, I can't, I wish, or that's probably not going to work for me? Or do you find yourself saying the positive side of those words of I want to, I can, I will, I think this might be able to work? What are the possibilities? And so those are negative versus positive kind of phrases that you can think about what you're using. Just look back at the last week, the last 2 weeks. What do you hear yourself saying? Is it positive? Or is it negative? You see, success breeds success. We know this, especially in the sales process. We know that when you are on the telephone and you're calling people and you get an appointment, boy, you get excited. It makes me excited. I got to make more calls, get more appointments. And when I make a sale, I feel like I can do it. And I start believing in myself and I start having more success. And I want to have it happen more frequently. Success breeds success. I mean, when things are good, they get better. But also on the negative side, you know this, if you tell yourself things are bad, they're probably going to get a little worse. How are you doing with that personally? Are you able to rise above your words? What are you saying to yourself? And I'm not sure about you, but when I build teams and I have expectations of teams, I want to spend my time. I want to invest my time. I want to be a mentor, a teacher, a coach to the people that are positive and want to learn versus the people that don't want to learn. I'm taking it today that maybe that's you because you're on this podcast, but did it ever occur to you that things can get better than what they currently are? I can't tell you how powerful your own personal expectations are that you have of yourself. Live up to your own personal expectations. That, in fact, will give you a better opportunity to live up to others, people's expectations. But I'm going to tell you, expect the best. My name's Terry. Thanks for being on the podcast today. We'll see you next Tuesday. And thanks for just being a good person. How about that? Thanks for being a good person out there.